and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Uncovered, where we discuss the beauty and the challenges of entrepreneurship. I'm Gabrielle Luoma, CPA, CGMA, and CEO of Mod Ventures. I will facilitate and join in this discussion with Mckayla, the owner of Comma Momma. Before we start, let me tell you a little bit about Mod Ventures. Mod Ventures is an outsourced accounting and advisory company for businesses across the United States. Our accounting team is entirely virtual and has been since 2014. Our passion is to help entrepreneurs organize, create, and predict their financial futures. Strong small businesses create financially stable communities, and we are all about that. Welcome, Mckayla. It's so exciting to have you talk to us today and tell us all about your entrepreneurship journey. You know yourself way better, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself today. So, Mckayla, who are you? What do you do? Tell us all about you.
So I'm Mckayla. I'm the owner and the mama behind the Comma Momma Co. I am an SEO and a blog content writer. That's a lot of what I do is just blog content writing, and we use it to just improve your rankings on Google because I mean your audience is already searching. We're just helping you show up.
So, why did you get started? What caused you to go in this direction?
So originally, I was writing for pennies on Upwork. I would do a lot of like little things here and there. I had just started my first semester of college, and I was like, I need some way to just make some spare money. And I was going for English. So I was like, this works perfectly. Um, Obviously, pennies didn't get me far.
Right?
And I got pregnant with my son, my first, and I was like, I got to make some changes because I was doing the Upwork, I was working three other jobs, I was going to school, and something had to give. Childcare is very expensive,
Yes, it is. Yes.
and it just was not manageable. So I was like, I will start a business. I would had just, entered into the world of entrepreneurship. I saw everybody starting their online businesses. This was pre-sickness around the world. So it wasn't as big as it is now. And I started very small, and I've been very small for a long time. But I knew I wanted to write. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. My husband actually came up with the name, the Comma Momma Co. I was like, I need something with writing and mama, because that's what
Yeah.
pushed me to do this. So Comma Momma Co. just came from there. And from there, I've leaned into SEO. I've taken everything I've learned from working for these agencies for pennies and put it towards small businesses and women-owned companies that I really want to work with.
Hmm. That's awesome. I love that. You and I both started our businesses when we had babies. So I think we have a lot of common in that. Brooke was born and literally I was like, okay, I don't really want to go back to work. And I want to go through the whole daycare thing, at least right away. And
Mhm.
that's when I started my firm in 2004. And we're 20 years. Can you believe it? This year, 20 years. So, a lot of interesting things happen when you become a mama.
It does. And I've since welcomed my third last year. So every time it gets a little different. I see a little shift in what I'm doing, and I'm like, I feel more comfortable in what I'm doing. I'm like, I know this is working, this is not working, or, this worked last time and I need to make changes, or this is fine.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so what a challenge to start a business and be a mama and now a mom of three. So I'm sure that you have a ton of advice on how you manage and kind of work through just building your business and managing client work and kind of keeping all the wheels on the bus going. So I'm excited to hear a little more about your journey. So who
Yeah.
who are your ideal clients then? You mentioned other female-owned businesses. Is that really
Mhm.
the biggest thing for you?
That's really the biggest thing for me. I've actually found while I am open to all women-owned businesses, I've just found that, I can get to know them on a more personal level. We have a few more things in common, and I like to do that. I like to be personable. I don't want to be a stranger on the other side of the screen. I want to know a little bit about you. I want you to know about me. I want to hear about your interests. So I want to take it a step further. And I've just found that women are who I connect with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because I'm a woman,
Yeah.
but that's just who I connect with. And I like to keep things comfortable too. If I'm uncomfortable, you're going to feel uncomfortable. That's how it is. Um,
Right.
but I've
So
also found that I end up working with moms a lot,
with
whether
moms,
intentionally yeah,
yeah.
intentionally or unintentionally. I just, a lot of my stuff has the comma mama, so I'm sure that kind of plays a role.
Yeah, people relate to you a lot, I'm sure. So what is your favorite part of what you do? What's excites you and kind of ignites you?
I there's actually like three things I would say in this whole world of entrepreneurship and doing my business that really just like make me light up. And the first thing would be like writing. I absolutely love writing. When I got into it, I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with an English degree. I
Yeah,
could write a book, maybe. But I
yeah.
was like, that's not me. I don't think I can sit down and do what authors do.
Mhm.
So it's just actually writing and writing about something new. I have different clients in different industries, so I get to try on essentially different hats all the time, and it's
Yeah.
it's fun. It keeps it interesting. So I'm never bored in just one aspect. And every time I get a new client, I get to meet someone new.
Hmm.
And I get to learn all the ins and out of their business and all their personality traits because blogging does take a lot of that into consideration. Where it gets a little personal or about the beliefs of the business and the values that they care about,
Yeah.
not just what they're doing. So I feel like it's a little bit more personable than like regular website copy or some types of marketing. And
Right.
then the other thing is just, kind of ties into that meeting the people.
Mhm.
I don't think if I had stayed where I was and just, gotten a local job, sure, I'd meet some amazing people, but I don't think I'd be connected with the women and the entrepreneurs that I know now. Like
Right.
I feel like I've made so many connections. And then just the third thing is seeing the growth. I don't know if anybody else has this moment, but like when you're able to like look at a chart and see something work and see the growth happen, you're like, oh, that just looks so amazing. I'm so happy about it.
Yeah. I think we both love also metrics and
Yes.
seeing charts and numbers. That just is exciting. And, you know, yeah. And when you can see that what you're doing is actually impacting the progress,
Yes.
that's what,
Making a difference.
yeah, that's really exciting. So, I love that. I think more and more people are going to start thinking about that in their business is, numbers and trying to really track those and figure out what makes sense to track and things like that. So, maybe we can get into that a little bit later. We'll see. And maybe that's for next time. Like, what are the KPIs? Another one, right?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
I'm sure we can talk about more things in that. Um,
Definitely.
so, you know, I would say you're probably still relatively new, although probably 5-ish years is quite a while. You've made it past that really important 5-year mark. And so you're you're still working on a lot of personal traits and working on who you are as a person, who you are as a business owner. And so, what are you currently working on and or trying to improve in your business or yourself? Um,
This honestly came at like the perfect time to talk about this. As I mentioned before, I had my third, and for the foreseeable future, the last baby I'm gonna welcome.
mhm,
Um, there were a lot of difficulties around that, and I had to take a good bit off. I only focused on my long-term clients that I'd had a relationship with for a long time, and I didn't really welcome anybody new in. I didn't do a lot of marketing. I really took a huge step back. So, and that's been kind of like the theme of the years before too. Like a lot of entrepreneurs go in and we're like, we got to we work at it, we grow. And I've spent the past almost 4 or 5 years, the entire time that I've had the business, pregnant or caring for very small infants, they're attached to you, breastfeeding, doing all the stuff that are, you don't have a lot of time to separate. So I've always kept things very small. I didn't do a lot of PR. I didn't do a huge amount of marketing. I did what I could fit in the 30 to 20 free
Yeah,
minutes that I had
right,
to
right.
market. And now that, I've made this kind of mental shift that, we're not going to have another child. It wouldn't be good for me, for my health. I really, they're going to start going into daycare and full day school soon. My first son's in full day school now, and my middle child will be going to full day school. And my littlest will be going to daycare this upcoming fall. And
Wow, that's a big
I'm really
shift.
kind of, yeah, so much time. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it, but
Yeah.
I've really gone head first into the Comma Momma Co. So I'm doing a whole website shift.
Wow.
My website's getting redone. My copy's in the process. I did a huge branding change this past Christmas, and now I'm really stepping back while other people are doing that. I've outsourced because I know that I can't do it. you
Yeah,
know,
good for you.
Going back to what I can do,
Right.
but now I'm really taking a step back and I'm focusing on the systems behind the scenes, making sure that I'm staying on top of everything, making sure that I have reminders in place, and that if somebody gets sick, I can step back or have a child care in place just in case. My onboarding systems, just focusing on the client experience so that I can give the most I can and automate what I
Yes.
can, so that I can just focus on what I'm good at, which is SEO and blogging. And
Mhm.
that's really been the huge shift for right now. And part of that is being confident in what I can do, and
Right.
being comfortable in being a business owner, which I feel like I've never fully stepped into the role to begin with.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it's always been kind of one foot in, one foot in motherhood, and I'll still be a mother. And we're starting to get a little bit more into becoming a business owner.
Yeah. Well, I love that because I think we all start if you're really good at something. We all start a business because we're good at something, right?
Mhm.
We need to make some money. Obviously, there's got to be a financial component to that. Um, but we don't always think of ourselves as business owners or entrepreneurs. Probably until you're too busy to do it all. And when you start to get to the point where you're too busy to do it all, then you realize, oh, I have to maybe employ some people. I might have to, um, outsource some things for myself. I might have to get help in certain areas. And I think that's been one of the most successful things or things that I've done that's been successful is when the kids were young I did get help in the house, My husband worked a full-time job also. So, so it's not just work stuff, it's also home stuff. And I
Mhm.
don't think women talk enough about the help that they get in order to be successful in their work and successful at home. And you know, for whatever reason, maybe there's shame around it, maybe they feel like they should be able to do it all, or maybe their mom did it all, or whatever. But we don't have to. We need to concentrate on what we do best, and being a present and kind and loving mom is so important, and the presence that you can be there.
Yeah.
So I love that you're, learning to kind of depend on others and outsource some things and hold on to the things that are important to you, and what you're a genius at, like what you do really, really well. So that's great. I think that's a great lesson.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up. We don't talk enough about it. And so we have a lot of stressed out parents, not just
Yes.
moms, but
Yeah,
parents.
parents in general.
And because maybe they don't have a support system, um, and they're trying to figure out how to do too many things. And so everybody suffers. But so tools of the trade, what are your favorite tools that you like to use? maybe on a daily basis. It doesn't even have to be like, you know, really technical things. It could be
Yeah.
just simple things that has really helped you in your company.
So the first one would probably be Moz. It is a very SEO based tool. That's what I use. I'm on it daily for keyword research, checking up on statistics, and it's probably where I spend a lot of the time. Um, Next is Honeybook. It's another very technical one. I absolutely love it. It does a lot of the automation for me, contracts, invoices, making sure that people are sent reminders for invoices and just keeping everything in one place.
I love that.
And then probably one that's more personal, I use Notion, and part of it's for business, and then part of it is for personal stuff. I've been using it for, like, tracking birthday parties and making sure that everything's organized, and then there was one I started using that where is it? What is it called? It's called Maple, and it's an organization app. I was recommended it, and I absolutely love it. You can make, like, separate sections in it for different activities, and it will, like, send you reminders for those
Wow.
activities. I can, like, have one for my son just started soccer, so I can put all of his soccer stuff in one. And it'll
Nice.
send me reminders for it, and then my daughter's in dance, so it'll also send me reminders for, like, "Hey, this Tuesday, you have her dance practice coming up," or I can do one for preschool, and she has different activities than he does, so it's been very helpful, very, very helpful.
So then you don't forget about,
Yeah.
whenever things are coming up. Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I would second the HoneyBook. I don't use that type of software. Actually,
Mhm.
I use PandaDoc for a lot of our um proposals and things like that. And we're testing out a few different things right now for like the whole 9 yards. Um, but I love HoneyBook because it does simplify things quite a bit. Like it does the contracts, the payment processing, you're right, the reminders for invoicing, all of that stuff, and you don't have to remember to do it.
I think, the proposal has been very helpful, and then they also have a feature, their automated scheduling, so I do strategy calls, in addition to, like, my more long-term services, so
Mhm.
it's, like, the one way that people can really do, like, just a small service with me.
Yeah.
And Honeybook allows you to create the scheduler, set your dates that you wanna do it for, everything's automated, but create, like, a smooth, I guess, sequence
Yeah.
that they'll fill out the form with all their information, go ahead and book, go ahead and pay all in one.
Yep.
So and, like, it's all they just click on the link and they can do it, and that's been a game changer for me, like, the more I can automate, the better. That's such a simple thing, there's no vetting, anybody can do it. So
Yeah.
it's something that people can do, or for booking discovery calls or even podcast guests, like, you can make so many different forms with that scheduler, it's been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, anytime you can simplify. So yeah, I would agree. That's a good one. Um, so we're talking about kind of your favorite tools, and they're indispensable to you now. Um, so that's kind of like the good things. So let's talk about um and I'm one that can talk about failure in a way that's like, well, I made a mistake. You either learn or you win, like you never lose. That's really one of my mottos is like that's helped me be resilient these 20 some odd years and just keep going. And so I think your mindset has to be different when you're talking about making mistakes or having some failures. And so, what would you say is your or has been one of your biggest failures, and what did you learn from that experience?
Believing that I could do it all, like, absolutely believing that I could do it all. You head into it and you're like, "I don't need this, I don't need that," or specifically, I got into it, I would see people like, "I have this tool do this for me," and I'm like, "Oh, that tool's $200, like, I don't wanna spend that,"
Right.
or, "I have this service provider do this for me, that's, $500 a month to more than $500
Right?
a month. Like, I don't need that either. Like,
Yeah,
I was always looking at, okay, I need to save, save, save.
yeah,
But it really killed I would say, like, my whole workflow.
yeah,
I couldn't keep everything organized by myself. I was having trouble juggling the incoming inquiries in my emails because it was just straight to email. I didn't have any kind of CRM in place. Um, Figuring out where I kept my contracts or, has this invoice been paid? I'm sure that's a big one for y'all.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
and or if the invoice has been sent, like, I wasn't on top of anything or had anything organized, so while the first client was great, second client was great, third client stuff started getting messy, I had to start implementing as I go the
yeah.
systems that I could have had in place to begin with.
Yeah, I think that is the danger of having that so scarce mindset, the
Yeah,
scarcity
our
mindset, right?
scarcity mindset.
Yeah, and it's just like feeling like the shoe was always going to drop, and so you had to always have more money, or you were afraid
Yeah.
because you didn't know when the next dollar was going to come in.
Yeah, you didn't know when the next client was gonna be, or if they were gonna be like, "Yes, we wanna sign again, we wanna keep going," and or, "No, we don't wanna stick around," and, if I had just gone in and set up all my systems to begin with, or done it as I could afford it even,
Mhm.
maybe clients that had decided, maybe she's not organized enough to work with us would have been like, "You know what? We like her," 'cause, the work's always been good.
Mhm.
I've always done well with the blogging, but the back ends have always been a problem, and of course, these past few years, I really focused on them and making that experience seamless in every single I would say every client interaction, I'm seeing, "Okay, I need to put this in there." Whether it's a new question in the onboarding form or another step or clarification in the discovery call, like, every time I'm learning something new that I need to say, "Okay, this is somewhere I can improve."
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think what you're kind of having to do is adjust while you're flying.
Mhm.
And so sometimes that can be scary, right? You're adjusting as you're flying, but no no product, nothing has ever been launched without having improvements being made to it as it's being launched. Nothing.
Mhm.
Nothing. There's no such thing as any product that was launched perfectly. So
Yeah.
I think we all have to remember that we're kind of all in beta until we figure out what we need to do. And then I think in the beginning too, you don't really know where to invest your time. And so, it takes time to put those um kind of those procedures in place and systems in place. I'm curious, have you ever read the book E-Myth?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That is a must read because it talks about a business owner who is a great pie maker.
Mhm.
And this pie maker, she's so good and there's such a demand, but she's working 12-hour days.
Oh.
So she starts to hire people, but there's no processes in place. So as she's building this company, she's still working ungodly amount of hours, but there's so much work that she can't get it all done. And the processes that they have in place are not
Yeah.
clear, right? They're not clear. The rules aren't clear. The procedures aren't clear. All that's really messy. And so the business starts to kind of falter and have some issues because of that. And they basically explains that there's three personas in every business owner. You have the manager, you have the technician, and then you have the owner, the technician, and the manager. Yes, the entrepreneur. So these three personas work kind of against each other if you let them. And so anyway, I highly recommend that book to anyone who is, jumping on that entrepreneurship train because you learn it the hard way. You do. Um, and you can't always prepare for everything, but you know what you can what you can learn.
And I
Sometimes,
think
reading a book.
Yeah, definitely send me the title so I can go ahead and get that. I am always down for a good new read. That's one of my favorite things to do before bed. But
Yeah.
I think part of it's also like just approaching everything with transparency, like being honest about it, saying, this is what happened
Mm-hmm.
and I'm moving forward. I've put this in place to kind of counteract that. And then when you're choosing to invest like that, how you were saying, in the beginning, everything's kind of like, where do I start?
Right.
Um, you have to kind of look past the people who are just, we want your money.
Right. Right.
Because I feel like there's a lot of that out there online. It's, you need this, you need that, you need this. And a lot of people don't qualify, are you ready for this?
Right.
I know a lot of times I've had to integrate that into my process as well because I've had people who approach me and are ready to invest. And I'm like, I don't think you're ready to invest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because
Yes.
what I do is very long term.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long-term marketing strategy. Whereas, so maybe Instagram, because I do blogging and SEO, so maybe Instagram might be something that turns around a little bit quicker if you're nurturing an already existing audience.
Right.
For SEO and blogging, it takes a little bit of time. So if you're not comfortable in your offers, you're not comfortable with your business,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably not ready for it. Because if you're changing your mind about what you're launching or what you're doing or who your audience is, like, and it's perfectly fine to do those things. But
Right.
if you're doing them every 3 weeks or every 2 weeks, you can't
Yeah.
make a strategy on how you're going to rank on Google because Google won't know what we're doing.
Right. Right. That's an interesting point. And I think I agree. I talk to people who come to me and they're not really ready to, invest and make that next step. There's always you're always in some respects when you're working with small business owners, especially when they're newer, they're like, should I do this myself or should I hire somebody else to do it for me? Um, and and you know me pretty well, so I know what I know. I ask as many questions as I can to understand, but I want to be an educated buyer, I want to know, I want to offer information if I have it, but I don't know how to blog. I don't know how to do SEO. I don't know how to do that stuff. So I have to invest if that's the strategy I want to go about it. And that's always been kind of my thing. This is what I do. So I built that into my business long ago. Um, but you have folks who are definitely, unfortunately, they're just not ready. They're not ready. They haven't gotten to, you're right, ideal client, or they haven't gotten to my time is more valuable here versus here.
Yep.
And I think that's a growth area, a growth mindset. Like you just said about scarcity versus, like, oh, am I going to have a long-term plan or am I going to just always be wondering where the next dollar comes from?
Yes. That's exactly where I started this off saying that, we were making some big shifts. I was doing a website, I was doing copy, and which I have a website and I have copy, but it's all done myself, or I bought a template and this is all custom to me. And
Right.
it took me taking that first big step. Pardon me.
It's okay.
It took me taking that first big step to make a first big investment and, just trust the process. Say, I can do this. I can do this at this point financially. This
Hmm.
is a good step in my business. I'm just going to trust her. And so I trusted her throughout the entire process. And I came out on the other end and I'm like, I feel so much better now. Like,
Yeah.
this is exactly the result. I made sure that I did not stress about it. I made sure that I took a step back and trusted the person I put my money with.
Yep.
And I knew the value of what she was doing.
Hmm.
Because I don't know how to do it, but I
Right.
understood.
You understand
Which,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
You know the
and
work
that's
that it
that's what we
takes.
need.
Right.
We need a client to understand,
Hmm.
have some kind of idea of what they're coming to us for, even if they don't know how to do it.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. I put my money with her. I said, okay, this is what I need. I trust you to do it. And I came out on the other side and I was like, this is amazing. This is what I've needed. And it made me so much more comfortable to make the other investments, the further investments, saying, okay, this is what I
Yeah,
need now. This is the next step. And
I love
it's
it. Yeah. Well, and I think that you mentioned a good thing. Like when you find a good partner, you have that trust, and then it's so much easier to take that next step and do the investments that you need to make. So I think it's, a lot of things, if you're looking to expand your business, the things that you need to look for is a trusting partner that you feel comfortable with. Um, make sure it's the right timing for
Mhm.
the investment and whatever it is. Um, make sure that you're in a good mind space around your finances. And I think so many entrepreneurs need to work on that, um, because that flows into what you charge for your work. It helps you feel worthy for what you are charging. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think we females tend to have a bigger problem with that.
Definitely.
So, you know, it just is what it is. And
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of things you have to work on personally before you're ready to really tackle some of those bigger things in your business. But um I love that we're talking at your fifth year. I cannot wait to see you at your 10th year.
Maybe I'll be back.
You will be.
We can circle back here.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I would love to um, you know, track this via video even every year. That'd be cool. I would love to,
And it's pretty cool. We're almost exactly on when I really started taking clients because I launched um my business in December. I launched it on my birthday, but it wasn't really built out. I was just like, look, I've started this, and I started really like getting into it. I think it was either January or February, and transitioning my clients from Upwork to my news business off of their platform
uh-huh.
and diving in. And so this is really it is a really cool way to celebrate kind of like the anniversary.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. I love that. It's funny. So Brooke I think she was around 2.5, 3 months old when I decided to do my first tax return.
Mhm.
And I really didn't know what I was doing. Like I did not know what I was doing. And it was luckily it was somebody it was quite simple. It wasn't, it was just a W-2 and a few things. So it wasn't, crazy, but I mean, I will always remember delivering my first return to a client, from the getting the client to doing the return to delivering the return. It was like such a crazy memory. And yeah, I didn't have anything planned out. I had no idea what
I'll say
but
there's not really like a step-by-step guide or checklist to
no,
learning everything. We're figuring it out as we go, and every time we do it, it gets better.
it does. It does.
Every single time. Every day, I would say,
Yeah.
we kind of approach it better.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Because you're learning as you're going.
Mhm.
And they say 1% better every day is what 365 every year. Can you imagine what a 5-year person then knows? It's a lot. See? Look at you. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, to my audience, if you are looking for SEO and blogging support, I highly recommend Mckayla. She's been working with us for, gosh, 2, maybe 3 years now.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it actually might be three because I think it was back in 2021 and it's
yeah,
2024.
yeah. And so, yeah, we've been working together for quite some time, and I've learned a lot. And always have new questions, that come up that I don't know, and she's able to support us and help us learn too. Um, so again, Mckayla, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure. I think we've all learned and had some really insightful wisdom come from you. So thank you so much for sharing that journey with us. How can we reach you if we want to work with you?
So you can reach me at thecommamommaco.com, or you can find me on Instagram at commamomma.co. So those are probably the best ways to get to me. And just be forewarned, I do have 3 kids, so I get about 24 to 48 hours for to get a good professional response. If you're on Instagram, I got a lot of friendly conversations that we can have.
Good. All
Like
right.
I said, I would love to get to know you.
Okay, great. Well, and for my audience, if you're like this type of content and you want to tune in, we do post a video every other week. Please subscribe because then you won't miss any of our videos and any of our conversations with our entrepreneurs that we have on the Mod Ventures Entrepreneurship Uncovered. So y'all have a great week and we will see you in a couple weeks. Thanks. Bye.